Hi there, and welcome to the Cell-a-Tea. Tamra Judge's life spiraled into chaos after receiving a chilling message urging her to end her own life. But even this horrifying moment was just a fraction of what had been unfolding in her world. What began as a series of questionable comments about her longtime friend Shannon Beor escalated into one of the most dramatic downfalls in Real Housewives history. Allegations of FBI investigations, fake social media accounts, production leaks, and a mental health crisis that required Bravo to intervene with a psychiatrist all contributed to a full-blown reputation collapse. And as shocking as this sounds, Tamra has often made the situation worse herself. The drama begins in September 2023 when Shannon Beor, Tamra's supposed best friend, was arrested for DUI after crashing her car into a house, a serious incident. Initially, Tamra seemed supportive, but her behavior soon took a different turn. Following the arrest on September 16, Shannon entered rehab, sought help, and took accountability for her actions. Meanwhile, Tamra pulled out of their Tres Amigas tour with Vicki, claiming it was too soon for Shannon to perform in alcohol-themed shows. Soon after, filming for season 18 began, and Tamra's conduct became increasingly controversial. On camera, Tamra repeatedly labeled Shannon an alcoholic, not in a concerned or supportive manner, but in a way that felt publicly humiliating. She constantly questioned Shannon's sobriety, highlighting it at every opportunity. This was the same woman who had claimed Shannon as her best friend for over a decade. Shannon later revealed a heartbreaking truth. Tamra had left town the day after her DUI, disappearing when her friend needed her most. She returned later, not to offer support, but to judge Shannon on national television. By July 2024, Shannon publicly stated that she had no intention of rekindling their friendship, citing years of toxic behavior that had plagued their 10-year relationship. Fans erupted online, creating hashtags demanding Tamra be fired, while social media comments painted her as a mean girl, a bully, and a fake friend. Tamra's former fans turned against her in droves. In September 2024, Tamra admitted she regretted calling Shannon an alcoholic, but her statement was defensive, claiming she had been pushed against the wall. This victim narrative would become a recurring theme throughout the unfolding chaos. Then came another layer of complication with Alexis, who had started dating Shannon's ex-boyfriend, John Jansen. John, who was suing Shannon for $75,000 over a facelift loan from their previous relationship, should have prompted neutral or supportive behavior from Tamra. Instead, she befriended Alexis, defended their relationship publicly, and even attended their wedding, all while continuing to attack Shannon. Tamra escalated further by revealing on the show that John had months of surveillance footage from the night of Shannon's DUI, videos she described as extremely damaging. By using this footage, she seemed to actively participate in a calculated campaign to ruin Shannon's reputation, both publicly and legally. Internet backlash was immediate. The comments poured in condemning her cruelty, with critics highlighting that this was no longer reality TV drama. It was personal and malicious. Tamra's credibility took a serious hit, and the hate train, now in full motion, portrayed her as the conductor. The controversies continued in October 2024, when Tamra appeared on her podcast 2 Ts in a Pod and announced that she was on the autism spectrum. However, this claim came after a single therapy session with no formal diagnosis. She used this self-diagnosis to rationalize her lack of empathy, framing it as an explanation for her mean behavior. Autism advocates and mental health professionals were outraged, calling her comments trivializing and harmful. Even former friends like Vicki Gunson criticized her for making a mockery of neurodevelopmental conditions, while Kelly Dodd suggested she should be fired. Tamra failed to address the backlash properly, leaving the controversy unresolved for months and further tarnishing her public image. When season 19 premiered in July 2025, Tamra broke down in tears, claiming she had misspoken on her podcast and had been publicly annihilated. Despite her vulnerability, she continued to employ victim language rather than taking full accountability. Meanwhile, new allegations emerged. Entertainment journalist Kiki Monique accused Tamra of attempting to have her fired from Bravo over comments she allegedly made about Tamra and Alexis on Radio Andy. Multiple castmates, including Jennifer Pedranti and Vicky Gunson, corroborated similar experiences. Although Tamra denied trying to get anyone fired, leaked private messages suggested she had reported colleagues to Bravo for making disparaging comments, blurring the line between self-protection and manipulation. By March 2025, sources revealed that Tamra had become the primary source of production leaks, keeping folders on cast members and researching negative information to potentially weaponize against them. She also allegedly used fake social media accounts to spread rumors, drawing the ire of producers and breaking the trust essential to reality TV. During a cast dinner in New Orleans, Tamra accused Katie Janella of spreading a false rumor about Gretchen Rossi being roofied, an accusation Katie and Gretchen denied. The confrontation escalated, and Tamra stormed out of the restaurant and the entire cast trip, posting on Instagram as if she had chosen to leave. Fans and media assumed she quit, but in reality, she suffered a breakdown that required intervention from a Bravo-employed psychiatrist. By August 2025, Tamra returned to filming after encouragement from her friend Teddy Mellenchamp, admitting she had been deeply depressed. Even then, she revealed disturbing messages she had received, including suggestions that she should end her life. This highlighted how dark the backlash had become, with organized online campaigns targeting her at every turn. Amid all this public scrutiny, Tamra's personal life remained painful. Her estrangement from her daughter, Sydney, dating back to 2015 after her divorce from Simon Barney, compounded her struggles. Sydney had publicly accused Tamra of being mentally and emotionally abusive, a claim that Tamra addressed on the show, often breaking down in tears. By November 2025, Tamra briefly reunited with Sydney, describing it as really special, but fans cruelly exploited this personal trauma in online attacks. Season 19 depicted Tamra in therapy, confronting decades of unprocessed trauma, custody battles, and estrangement from her father. Tamra's on-screen behavior, however, often contradicted the vulnerability she shared in therapy. During Season 18, she mocked Jennifer Pedranti's plastic surgery on camera, accused Jennifer's boyfriend Ryan of FBI investigations, and shared unflattering photos with other cast members. This pattern, researching dirt, spreading rumors, and feigning innocence when confronted, mirrored her treatment of Shannon and others, reinforcing the perception that her actions were deliberate rather than accidental. In October 2024, Tamra admitted in a public statement that she carried deep and painful trauma and acknowledged her mental health wasn't strong enough to handle public judgment. While her pain is undeniable, estrangement from her daughter, loss of her father, and decades of unresolved trauma, fans and critics argued that trauma cannot excuse behavior that actively harms others. The recurring pattern became clear: attack publicly, claim victimhood when challenged, manipulate behind the scenes, and use mental health as a shield. By November 2025, Tamra's relationships within the cast were mostly fractured. Shannon had given a brief, guarded hug at the Season 18 reunion, Vicky encouraged castmates to sue her, and Katie openly feuded with her following the New Orleans incident. Jennifer remained wary, Heather Dubrow was visibly uncomfortable, and Alexis was one of the few allies left. Social media largely condemned her as toxic, manipulative, and bullying. The Tamra Judge saga raises broader questions about reality television. Where does producing entertainment cross into producing trauma? Bravo had to intervene with a psychiatrist, highlighting the extreme pressure cast members face. Meanwhile, fan cruelty, death threats, and harassment demonstrates that public accountability can morph into something far darker. Tamra's downfall wasn't the result of one misstep. It was a cascading series of choices over years, fueled by unresolved trauma, impulsive actions, and the high-stakes environment of reality TV. She is at once villain and victim, a person whose unprocessed pain collided with an unforgiving spotlight, creating one of the most infamous reputational collapses in reality television history.